Morning, everybody. So this is Joel Santos, and welcome to an AIESEC EO Philippines and Thames International webinar on what's next. I'll be your moderator and host today. I'm Joel Santos. So let me start off by sharing my screen. So today we're going to tackle something really interesting. A lot of people already graduated from college and also students who are still in college. And the question is, what's next, right? What's next for all of our so-called batch 2020? And so we thought of putting this thing together, Thames International and AIESEC Philippines, in partnership with Unbox and the Entrepreneur Organization of the Philippines, and give everybody some sort of a flavor of what to expect. So we have two top entrepreneurs in their fields. They're both EO members. That's JP Twasson, the founder of Twasson Racing, and Lisette Laos Velasco, the CEO of Laos Companies and president of Entrepreneurs Organization Philippines. I will introduce them a little bit more later. But for now, let me just tell you what we are supposed to expect. Okay. So a little bit about me. So you're going to be your moderator today. I dabbled within corporate and entrepreneurial experiences. So I'm from P&G. That was my first foray into the corporate world. Then I became a venture capitalist. Then started the school now, which is Thames International. Then went back to corporate and joined Philippine Airlines. Lived in Singapore. Then ended my corporate career as CEO of Franklin Baker. Studied at Ateneo and then went to the University of Bath in the UK for my master's. And I always keep my non-profit side. So I helped start up Gawad Kalinga in Singapore. I am a board of trustee of AIESEC Philippines. I am also a board of trustee of a foundation called IRR, International Institute for Rural Reconstruction in New York. So currently, my entrepreneurial experience continue on as the president of Thames International, suffering together with other Jollibee franchisees given the pandemic, and I also invest in EduTech. So that's me. And so, what do we expect today? I'll give you a snapshot of the state of the Philippines, where we are now, insights from our EO Philippines entrepreneurs, and thoughts and reactions from our panelists. So and it's going to be free-flowing, casual. Think of this thing as a fresh grads asking advice from your titos and titas. You know, we're old enough to be your tito and tita. We used to be in the same shoes as fresh grads, but things are different. And I hope we can all share, the three of us, our own insights of what's next for you as college graduates. So let's look at the state of the Philippines in numbers. That's really our starting point. You're fresh graduates. What is the situation as you enter the real world? So let's look at the economy. So the Philippines had a plan, right? They called it the Philippine Development Plan from 2017 to 2022. Basically, this is what the Philippines thought planned out when the president took over. As you can see, if you look at 2018, our poverty index was below target, which is good. By April 2018, if you look at the green thing, the target was unemployment rate of 3.8 to 5.2%. Our current unemployment rate is now 17.7%. So it has really blown off whatever was the expectation. Now, also in April 2020, the target of youth unemployment was 9.2%. It is now 31.6%. So that means when we talk about youth employment, this is people who graduated from senior high school. Some of them won't go to college. They were looking for work. A lot of them are not going to college and they don't have work options. Okay, so something to look at. And from a GDP perspective, if you look at the last slide, everything is negative. So instead of growth, we're actually retracting. So that's currently where we are. However, on another note, despite the erosion, right, in the global economy, in terms of consumer confidence, which means are people willing to spend, the Filipinos remain among the world's optimistic, right? So we might not be optimistic politically, as you well know, but from a spending perspective, the Filipino remains among the most optimistic. If you look at this, look at the Philippines, right? The average for Asia Pacific is minus 19. The Philippines is way up there at minus 15. Look at Japan, minus 32%. Indonesia, minus 25, right, in terms of index. Singapore, minus 21. And Philippines is minus 15. So we're way up there together with the likes of South Korea, because they fixed the COVID. Taiwan, they fixed the COVID too, and Thailand and Vietnam. So given our dire situation, consumer confidence is still very high. So for those in the sectors that actually need to sell something, it's still pretty good. Now, you're graduating at the time that there's a lot of other graduates. Now, as Filipinos who graduated from the Philippines, are our skills at par with the rest of our peers? So I just want to highlight a few things. Yellow means it's still emerging, right? Emerging in the sense that from a skills perspective, we're just getting better at it. Orange is actually means lagging, right? The maroon or red, it means cutting edge, and green means competitive. So if you look at the Philippines, from the skills base of business, technology, and data science, as a cluster, our skills as Filipinos who graduated in the Philippines are still in the emerging, right? If you look at New Zealand and Australia, most of their skills are competitive. If you look at Singapore, when it comes to business, they're top rank. When it comes to technology, yes, it's emerging, but when it comes to data sciences, they're super competitive. Now let's take a look at Vietnam, right? In Vietnam, in terms of business, they're the same as us, emerging. But if you look at their technology, they're at the same, they're actually from a higher, they're actually even a higher perspective than Singapore, given their green. And they may be lagging behind in terms of data science. So in a way, we're neither here nor there. We're all emerging. We're not great at something, but we're middle of the road, right? So I'm saying that because in this time that you're actually gonna try to compete out there and look for jobs, what's our competitive advantage as Filipinos? As of now, we are just in a way so-so, right, compared to our other neighbors. And of course, the big elephant in the room is where are we in terms of the coronavirus? As you can see, things continue to rise up, right? And that's why it's funny, right? The COVID situation is getting worse and worse, but at the same time, consumer confidence is still high in terms of buying. And that's despite the fact a lot of people lost their jobs. So it's Philippines, very interesting setup. And that's why they say the Philippine economy is not based on the world, it's actually based on consumer spending. So that's good news for generally for everybody. So with that, as a conversation starter, you know, Thames International together with EO and AIESEC would now like to have, you know, an open discussion. And I'm going to start that discussion with, you know, by introducing our panelists. So ladies first, right? So we have two panelists. Let me introduce them first. First one is Lisette Laos Velasco. She's the chairman and CEO of the Laos Group of Companies. Hi, Lisette. You know, It's a family-owned business predominantly operating in Central and North Luzon, including NCR. The group is engaged in the automotive dealership, non-life insurance, media, hospitality, food, and events. Ang dami. Been operating since 1978. She will talk about that later. Okay? With hers pa lang, pwede na kayo mag-apply ng trabaho. So, Lisette is also sits on the board of NLEX as an independent director. Moreover, she's the current president of the Entrepreneurs Organization of the Philippines. EO is the biggest global organization for entrepreneurs. You know, I have so many friends there, and these are the movers and shakers in the entrepreneurship space in the country. Our next one will be JP Twasson, a close family friend. We've known each other since we were young. Actually, since we were fresh grads. No naman, after. No, I knew him when he was still in college, pero graduate na ako nun. Diba? Heartthrob siya until now. So he's the founder of Twasson Racing School, established in 1999. He'll talk about that more. It's the first and longest running professional racing school in the country, now on its 21st year. Older than your kids. It's become one of the premier racing schools in Asia, with students coming from different parts of the world. So aside from that, it's the only racing school that offers race training complete with professional instructors, state-of-the-art equipment, race-prepared vehicles, and a scientific teaching curriculum. Yan. That's from 32 years of racing experience and training with the best racing schools in the world. As you can see, TJ looks like a fresh grad. Okay, it's the hat. Diba? When I wear a hat like that, I'm going to look like a fresh grad again. So, who would like to go first and react and give their points? Lisette, JP? Or Lisette, ladies first?
Ladies first, ladies first.
Yeah. Let me share Lisette.
Yes,
okay.
So okay. Probably let me introduce myself. Okay, so thank you so much, Joel. I'm Lisette Laos Velasco. As he mentioned that I am engaged in the automotive, non-life, insurance, and other industries. The company was established by my father, my late father, Levi P. Laos, in 1978. Incidentally, today is the 42nd anniversary of our founding company, which is the Car World Incorporated. We employ around 2,000 employees both in Central and Northern Luzon. But that's business, you see. Who I am really is a mother of two with one dog. And of course, I am happily married with Tino, who supports me in everything I do. So as mentioned too, I am the chapter president of the Entrepreneurs Organization of the Philippines. Just to give you a brief background about the organization, the Entrepreneurs Organization is a high quality support network of 14,000 plus like-minded leaders across 61 countries. We help entrepreneurs achieve their full potential through the power of life-enhancing connections, shared experiences, and collaborative learning. Our member network is committed to learning and helping each other succeed, gain access to the world's top experts, and grow beyond our personal limits. Today's EO members employ over 4 million people worldwide, and the network continues to thrive and grow. EO Philippines actually was established in 1996. We turn 25 next year. We have 189 members, all leaders and decision makers in over 220 companies. That together, we employ more than 80,000 workers in the country. In EO, we have many forums, learning events, mentorship programs, and the like, which are also open for spouses and the next gen. But EO is not just about business. It also helps us develop our interests and passion. So as you can see, I joined the band, as we call the cartel in EO. And before the pandemic, we were able to perform in different events, including the biggest one we had in Macau last year. In fact, it is actually a chance for me to bond with my daughter through music. So she's also part of the band. Why am I saying all of this? In life, we need to be able to be balanced with both work, family, and our passion. Time is the most important treasure that was given to us, and we need to make full use of it. So I guess that's about it for me. If there are any questions, please let me know.
Thank you. Thank you, Lisette. So we'll introduce JP first. Sorry. Sorry, JP, I'm looking for your presentation there.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
Hi guys, welcome. Thanks for having me.
Okay. So.
Okay.
Okay.
So very quickly, my name is JP Twasson, and we own and operate 4 companies. The most well-known one is called the Twasson Racing School. We've been around for, as Joel said, 21 years now. I started the company just a couple of years out of graduating from college. And some of the things that we've accomplished is we started this company when I was 23 years old, so just slightly older than you guys. At the moment, we run 4 companies now, and what's interesting, and maybe we can discuss later, is we made a very large pivot during the lockdown, and we moved. So I guess we can talk about that a bit later. I'm a global instructor for BMW. So I train BMW owners from all over the world. Our company has activities in the Philippines, Malaysia, and Thailand. And one of my dreams when I was young was to build race cars. So in 2018, we partnered with a Japanese company, and we build sports cars here in the Philippines. So it's the photo at the bottom. And at the moment, we're selling those cars in the Philippines, but the long-term plan is to build and export those cars across Southeast Asia. Next slide. So the companies that we run, Twasson Racing is now 21 years old. So when we first started it, it was just a partnership between me and my girlfriend, who is now my wife. And it primarily concentrates on motorsports. So we train people on how to race cars and motorcycles. We have another company. It's been around about 12 years now. It is called AIESEC Drive, and it's all about road safety. So we have 2 sides of driving. We've got the racing side, then we've got the road safety side. That's been around for 12 years. My wife runs a company called Zest Asia. It's been around for 10 years. It does corporate launches and lifestyle events. And finally, we have a company called Trace Global, and it's been around for about 13 years, and it's dabbling in real estate development and property management. So finally, a little bit about me. At the moment, I'm 45 years old. So yes, I am basically your tito. And I graduated from DLSU. I'm an engineering graduate. I've taken short courses at Harvard Business School, MIT, and Wharton through EO. I have 5 kids, and all of them with the same wife. So when you get to my age, that is already an accomplishment. So you got to put that in there, right? My purpose, and this I think is very important for me to discuss, is to help fulfill dreams. So in everything that I do nowadays, I always come back and say, am I doing something that aligns with my purpose? So again, it's to help people fulfill their dreams, whether they're our clients, they're our employees, or they're my family members. Again, everything circles back to this for me. And then my dream is to take my family on a gap year in 2023. So hopefully we will travel the world, 12 countries in 12 months. So that's it.
Thank you. So started with a few questions, JP and Lizette. Can you imagine yourself if you were a fresh graduate now, right? How would you be feeling given everything that's happening?
You want to start, Lisette?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do that. You know, I probably I'm one of the few people who actually look at things as a blessing. Never have I seen anything as disaster. So, you know, one thing that I've learned in the past years, because of the challenges that I've gone through for like, I've gone through two big ones, one last year and this one, the pandemic. One of the things that I've really learned is to sit back and just look at what I can do rather than just let things pass by. You know, we are blessed with so many things. There are so many things we can there's so many things out there that we can do, probably not the way we want it, but there's always an opportunity. So I guess it's that type of thing that you need to find for yourself. The situation will always be there. The pandemic will not leave. I mean, the virus will not leave. In fact, it's already there. The next question is, what do you do? So yeah, so I think regardless of what you choose, it is what you feel you like to do, and it probably whatever if it actually meets the purpose that you have in your life, the same way as JP said, right? He has a purpose, and if that meets your purpose, it doesn't matter which one you choose.
So let's go back a bit to time, diba? Lizette, you graduated where?
I took Human Resources Management, De La Salle University College of Field, and my master's in AIESEC.
You're just graduating from La Salle, in between two La Sallites. Okay. So just it's funny. So you just graduated from La Salle, and if you can just go back in time, what was your first objective after graduating?
Actually, my first objective was to work for somebody else.
Okay.
I never thought of working for the family business. In fact, I actually applied elsewhere until, you know, fate actually rushed me back to where I am right now. It was accidental that I went to work for my family business. So otherwise, I would have worked elsewhere because I want to gain that experience first. I want to be worthy to be working for the family business rather than just...
So you went straight to the family business?
No, I did not. I worked for somebody else.
Okay, that's good. So you went how many years?
No, just a few months because it was accidental. You know, so what happened was I worked for a bank. I was a telemarketer selling credit cards. Would you imagine?
Wow, okay.
I did cold calls, people not knowing me. I'm there selling credit cards for this multinational company. And then unfortunately, after 6 months, I got chicken pox and I was asked to go home. And during the time I was home, of course, my dad would convince me to actually join the family business because I'm already done with schooling. And so being a good daughter, I said, okay, I guess this is my way of giving back to the education that you've given me. So since then, I've worked for the family business until now. It's been 25 years. I'm turning 25. Actually, I just turned 25 years June of this year.
So that's very interesting. The kind of job that you took, diba, was telemarketing. Now, for those who don't know what that is, that's actually para kang call center, but you're selling something. You're not a customer service, right? You do cold calls, right? And then try to sell the card, right?
Yes, cold calls.
But you should, you know, for those who are a bit older, you'll get that now. You'll always get calls from somebody saying, you know, what's your script, Lisette? Can you remember?
Oh no, I don't remember it anymore. That was a long time ago. But I remember, you know, talking in front of a mirror because I need to smile while talking on the phone, right? Because I guess the voice that I use is actually being felt by the one on the other line. So that's a training that they gave us.
So guys, just if you can appreciate, right, given you saw the list of companies that Lizette's actually managing and where she started first, right? It's actually very interesting and actually in a way also very humbling, right, Lisette?
But yeah, Joel, before actually joining the company, every summer we would do summer jobs. My first one was a cashier, a forecourt cashier, meaning a cashier in a gasoline station while my brother is the gasoline boy. So we were trained that way. We did not land in a managerial position on the first day that we joined the company. We were clerks. We started from the bottom.
So the reason I'm guys, you know, the reason I'm doing this is that I want to show that where people start, right? I know there's maybe given where you guys have graduated, I'm going to talk about our panelists later. It's actually to take a look at that perspective of starting somewhere really in the bottom, because when you go out there, I don't think you can really choose, right? But there's nothing wrong with starting from the bottom. There's dignity at work, as Lisette has said. So, JP, talk about your time when you were just graduating. And how was it like, and what were your objectives? What were your dreams?
So when I was in college, I was racing cars with my dad every weekend, and it was the best time ever. And as I was just about to graduate, so about a month before graduation, my dad got sick and he passed away very quickly. So I went from being very privileged, and 6 months after my dad had passed away, we were broke. So I had just graduated from college. I was scratching my head. I had no money. I was like, man, the world kind of sucked, right, at that time. And what I wanted to do was I needed to do two things. I was very clear with myself. I said, one, I wanted to continue racing. And number two, that I had to earn money because I had no money. So to solve the first question, I went to work also for a multinational paint company. So my dad's family business was importing and distributing automotive paint. So I had a little bit of knowledge about that. And this multinational company hired me as a sales manager. So I would go out there and peddle paint to the pintor, the guy that, you know, goes to your house and sprays the car with paint.
She's selling credit card. Ikaw, pintura pa.
Pintura.
Credit card, diba? Bagay kay Lizette, diba? Glamorous. Ikaw, pare, pintura. Sige, go ahead.
So I learned how to speak to painters in Tagalog very quickly. That was part of the job. So I would go to job sites and it would be, you know, hot, dirty, sticky. And we were exposed to a lot of chemicals. So I figured out very quickly that I didn't want to stay in that space very long. But it was a very good experience because it showed me how to train people in the right way. So the second part was I wanted to stay in the space of motorsports. I didn't have money. So what I did was I quickly figured out how to generate sponsorship money. And I started first with friends and family members and people that my dad knew. And probably after about 6 months, we were starting to generate a little bit of sponsorship money. I was starting to race cars again. And 2 years later, we took that hobby and I said, okay, why don't we put those two things together, right? Learning how to train the painters, how to use our product. I translated that into how do I teach people how to race cars, which was my passion. And then we opened the Twasson Racing School.
Great. So two different, actually. JP's situation when he graduated, parang it's like exactly like the COVID, right? A lot of the fresh graduates actually are in situations where their parents have lost their jobs or actually lost their business. You know, they're like I think the last number is like 7 million unemployed. You know, so you can actually also imagine yourself, particularly the OFWs. They're making good money. They're driving our economy, but there's already 300,000 who had to return. No more jobs. So just imagine very similarly graduating in that situation. So before I do the panelists now, which I will introduce, I want to ask just one question each. So Lizette, JP, so given the current situation where you are now, how are you looking at it from a business perspective, and how are you adjusting or pivoting to the current situation?
Yeah, so in our case, during the ECQ, when it started, you know, I had to put, focus on the things that I need to do. And so during that time, I actually launched a theme for the organization. I said, we have to plan, prepare, and protect. Why did I say that? You know, we have to plan while the things are not moving, because as soon as they move and as soon as we open and our organization opens after the ECQ, we have to be prepared to open. But at the end, we have to protect the organization that is supporting us, you know. So that's why we were kind of we were kind of focused on the objectives that we needed to do during that situation. And so hoping that now that things are running a little bit better than they were, we are, I should say we are now quite ready to face the situation. Things are not back to where they were prior to the pandemic, but with the numbers, with the KPIs that we're seeing in the organization, we're quite happy where it's going. So hopefully towards the end of the year, we should be back on track.
Well, thanks, Lizette. JP, ikaw naman, how did you and your organization adjust to where we are and your pivot, if any?
So I'm gonna keep it real so that the students maybe can appreciate it a bit more. So when the lockdown happened, so we've been around 21 years, right? This is our 21st year of doing what we do, and year on year we've been growing. This year was supposed to be our biggest year ever. I mean, we were going to do some fantastic stuff, not only in the Philippines, but across the region. And to give you an idea, 3 out of the 4 companies that we run are basically events companies that rely on being able to gather large groups of people. So you can imagine, right? When we locked down, I was like, oh my God, what's going to happen here, right? We had zero business, right? So having said that, honestly, for the first 2 weeks, like a lot of people, we kind of just shut down and we watched Netflix and YouTube and kind of said, wow, the world sucks. And we didn't know what to do, right? And it was actually not a bad thing to have been able to stop and sort of get out of the situation, because when you're able to step back and you can clear your mind, those 2 weeks were very important for me to be able to see, okay, wait a minute. So I was able to sort of put my thoughts in place. And then 2 weeks later, we started putting down a proper plan on how to move forward. And just like Lisette, you know, we looked at things like finance, overhead, different revenue streams. And 2 weeks after kind of just not doing anything, we put into place a plan to do a pivot. And this pivot was a move into the digital space. So like I said earlier, we do a lot of live events where we gather lots of people. So how do you do that now that you're in a pandemic? So we moved into esports. So we started to organize digital racing cups or tournaments. And in the beginning, you know, we weren't really sure how it was going to go. We saw that a lot of the major race organizers around the world, like Formula One, was doing it. So completely during lockdown, we assembled a team. And in 3 weeks, we planned, launched, found sponsors, and created a race series, which is now finished. Our first race series is finished. We did 5 events over the last 3 months, and we had 500,000 views on Facebook. So with those kind of numbers, we were able to monetize right away. And we've been able to shift our business online. And all of this stuff without even having a physical meeting with our team. So we're very, very happy to now be in a space where we're able to grow a bit now in this pandemic, make a bit of money, cover our expenses, and then replan so that we can grow and grow. So we're now in the space of esports. We're doing podcasts, and we're doing luxury vlogs. So yeah, I think one thing that I just want to quickly add is, for a lot of people, possibly now, you know, if you're really thinking now, wow, tough times and all of this, but just like Lisette said, you got to change your mindset on things and look at the bright side. So one of the things that I think you need to be thinking about is, if you want to be an entrepreneur, now is actually a very, very good time to start a business. A lot of people think that it's a time to not do anything, but actually it's the opposite. Now is the best time to start a business. Why? because now, if in this situation right now, a lot of big companies are too big to be able to make the pivot, to make the move, to solve the problems that are happening today. So a small company, if you can solve a problem based on what's happening today, you can be in a very, very good position when things get better to be growing very quickly. So
thanks, JP. I think both Lizette and JP just showed us that, you know, no matter what the crisis is, there's two things, right? You need to be resilient, take a look at it from a positive perspective, and find the way forward instead of just, you know, croaking up and die, right? So I'm gonna now introduce our panelists, and each one, please, you can turn on your videos, and then I'll give you the opportunity to start asking our entrepreneurs some questions. The first one is Caitlin Cornell. She is a BS Business Administration and Entrepreneurship graduate from Babson College in Boston. Her favorite food is Japanese, and her hobby is watching documentaries. Hi, Caitlin.
Hi, Tito. Thank you for having me.
Tito na talaga ako. Okay. Tito si JP tsaka si Lizette. Tita si Lizette. Anela. The next one is Anela Nicomedes. She is a BS Entrepreneurship graduate from Thames International. She has a business because her business is Atelier, which is a fashion couture. Her favorite food is lasagna, right? And she loves reading books. Hi, Anela.
Hi, sir. Good morning. Good morning.
Third up is Jethro Malimata. He is a BS Applied Physics graduate from UP. It's one of those easy courses, Applied Physics. So UP pa, dali lang yan. He's the current president of AIESEC Philippines, outgoing president of AIESEC Philippines. His favorite food is pizza, and his hobby is interesting, watching Senate and House hearings because he finds it entertaining. It's like a circus. Okay. I agree. Diba? But sometimes I get depressed when I watch it. So you find it entertaining, I get depressed. It's like I want to cry. Anyway, last but not the least is Stella Paganian, AIESEC baby yan, okay? She is a second generation AIESECer. Hi, Stella. She's a Bachelor's of Design from the University of Navarre. Her favorite food is salmon sashimi or anything that's sushi. Her hobbies are tennis, reading, and running. Hi, guys.
Hi, thanks for having me. Good to see you all.
So, let's start from, saan lang pala yung guy dito? Si Jethro lang. O, sige. Let's start with the thorn among the roses. Diba? Jethro, can you react or comment from what you heard from both Tito JP and Tita Lisette, diba? Tito and Tito na tayo. Comments and thoughts?
Yeah, I think as someone who's also had to or decided to manage her own family business, I think it's very true, particularly in the time of the pandemic that...
Actually, sorry, Jethro, I have to start with this. How are you feeling now that you're graduating in this situation? Diyan muna tayo.
Sige.
Muna tayo.
Okay. I think I think as someone who was finding jobs, so I think I've been job seeking for around a month. So I'm in Facebook groups, I'm on LinkedIn, so trying to proactively search for jobs. One thing I'm realizing is that...
I'm not asking about your role. Let's talk about feelings first. How are you right now?
Okay.
Given all of these things. Alam mo, guys are emoting. Kaya ikaw mauna, di ba? Emote mo. How are you feeling?
I think sort of lost and frustrated and unsure. I think those are the top three first feelings. Like, I don't know if I can even find a job or if there's a future for me. I think that's something that's very true that I'm realizing, or I've been thinking of for a month now, that am I well equipped for the kind of jobs that I needed today? Because I don't think that, say, the jobs that my course prepared me for are completely relevant. I mean, definitely I'm blessed to have a course that's more on the tech aspect, but I think there are some aspects of it that may no longer be relevant and needed. So I don't know if I could find a job or something like that.
Thanks, Jethro. Caitlin, how are you feeling? Yeah, you're able to come back to the Philippines recently.
I know.
So are
it's a miracle, actually. I think it's a multitude of emotions. Um, you know, Negatively, there is loss, there is grieving, there's a lot of confusion, and sometimes anger because of so many things happening at once. But at the same time, I am blessed. I feel grateful, and just looking at the brighter side of things, just trying to find happiness in the little things and um, small things that make the day to day better.
Thanks, Caitlin. Okay, Anela, ikaw naman. What are your thoughts? Feelings muna, di ba? Let's go. How are you feeling now with everything that's happening? Anela, we can't hear you. Your audio. Are you on mute? But we can't hear you.
No. Hello, sir?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So, okay, sir. At first, of course, the stress and anxiety is always there. But because of the things that is happening around us and a lot of sufferings, especially with our fellow countrymen, I realized how blessed I am. Even though my business is also struggling right now, I realized that I have a lot of opportunities around me that I can just grab anytime that I want. So, yun, sir. I'm always looking for positive um, side or the opportunities in our current situation.
Okay, thanks, Anela. Stella, your thoughts, your feelings?
I just like to echo what everyone said. I feel that there's definitely a sense of frustration, diba? Because we all had our own plans, especially for us fresh graduates. We probably had intentions of staying abroad or finding a job with a specific company that we were looking at, and then suddenly now they're not hiring. Suddenly, borders are closed and we can't leave the country. Suddenly, all these channels are cut, diba? So there is that frustration, and I think emotional adjustment of realizing like, okay, what I wanted to do can't be done anymore. So I super agree with what Caitlin was saying, that it's a term of mindset talaga, and really trying to understand also what the panelists were, what the speakers were saying earlier, really understanding where we're positioned, acknowledging our privilege, sorry, and trying to see where we can move from where we are. So again, a mix of emotions, a multitude talaga of emotions. So yeah.
Actually, thanks guys for sharing. The reason I asked about feelings first is that feelings are never wrong, okay? Because it's a feeling, right? But it's what we do with that feeling is actually the next thing. So it's good to acknowledge our feelings during this time, and we honor those feelings. And so with those feelings, then it's what we do next with it. And that's where I'd like to ask JP and Lizette, any thoughts given the feelings of our panelists? What are your own thoughts and suggestions? Okay, go ahead, JP.
Yeah, so I'd like to share something that I learned from EO. So we do a lot of learning programs, and I did a program called the Regional Leadership Academy in New Zealand last year, and we had a U.S. presidential advisor conduct the program. His name was Warren Ruston, super famous guy. And why I want to share this with you guys is the feelings that all of you guys have just shared are very similar to the feelings that most entrepreneurs are feeling also now, right? Because we also have a lot of pressure, not only running our business, but we're thinking about our employees and our employees' families as well. So we get that, you guys. And what I learned at this seminar super duper helped me, and I think it can help you guys. So what I learned in that program was something called 10-10-10. So you guys might want to write this down real quick. 10-10-10. So when you wake up in the morning, right? As soon as you wake up, the idea is to read something inspiring for 10 minutes. Okay? Read something inspiring for 10 minutes. And then you take the next 10 minutes, right? And what you want to do is you want to start journaling about thoughts that come into your mind based on what you've been reading. And then finally, you end with your last 10 minutes of writing down things that you're grateful for. Because I think one of the important things that a lot of people are missing is, yes, things are bad, things suck, things are going to be bad for a while. But if you compare yourself, you know, with other people, you're actually doing okay, right? There's a lot of good things in your life. And once you write them down, it helped me a lot through this pandemic, that to realize that, you know, I'm actually okay, right? I'm okay. And when you can clear that worry out of your mind, then you're able to focus on what you need to do to be able to move the business forward or move your life forward. I heard a lot of you guys are into books. So I'm also into books. I'm a reader. I read a lot. And I'd like to share with you guys some of the best books that I've read during the lockdown. The first one is a perfect book for that 10-10-10, because it's a very short, it's 4 or 5 pages every section, and you can read it. You can read 2 sections in 10 minutes. It's called The Obstacle is the Way. It's by a guy named Ryan Holiday. So what he does is he takes a short passage from philosophers, and then he expounds on it, and he talks about how it can relate to everyday life. And it's such a great book because, again, the title is The Obstacle is the Way, because the gist of this book is he says that a lot of people are not happy and not successful because once things get difficult, they shy away from what's difficult. What he says in the book is when something's hard, dun kayo dapat. Because if you can solve that problem, if you can get through what's difficult, then on the other side, not only will you find happiness, but you'll find success.
Thanks, JP. Super. I'll use that 10-10-10.
Yeah, bro. Super, super good.
Thank you. Thank you. Lizette, your thoughts after they share their feelings?
Okay, yeah, just like JP, I use 10-10-10 every morning. I do have that, and I've been doing it for the past 2 years. In fact, I do not write it down, but I have a accountability partner. So every morning, as I wake up and I do my 10-10-10, I share my thoughts about something positive throughout the day. And mind you, it's so powerful that it changes the way I think throughout the day. Because when you start at the negative at the start of the day, imagine, you're pissed off at the start of the day. Imagine what you will be doing throughout the day. You will have the same feeling throughout the day. So, and I wanted to add with the learnings that I got from Warren Ruston as well. He talked about us having the clarity of vision, the certainty of intent is doing things. If we really wanted to do it, we have to be certain about that intent. But at the end of the day, we have to always be guided by the power of our values. As parents, I'm a parent myself. The only thing that I can actually give my daughter and my children are the values that I've learned from my parents and my grandparents. And so if you have the right values, regardless of the situation where you're at and what you're feeling and whatever crisis you go through, that will help you. Your values will definitely help you. Sometimes you are in a crossroads, right? There are things in life during your teens where you had to think whether this is right or wrong. But if your values are quite strong, you know where that will be going. So I guess it's the same. We just have to start every day with a positive note. Just start your day right and be clear with what you want to do and what you want to accomplish for the day. And I guess even with this situation, you will be able to go through it without you knowing it.
Thanks, Lizette. Thanks, JP. Kahit ako, marami ako natututunan from our really good. Thank you. Guys, I leave that was just really a conversation starter. This is really for you. Any questions to the three of us, actually? Who wants to start? Stella, Anela, Jetro, Caitlin. Okay, Stella, go ahead.
I actually wrote down a question. Just to comment, I really agree with what you guys were saying about how it's not the question of what's happening, but it's a question of how we respond, to the situation. And I think the first step to doing that, I think we should really evaluate our resources and means and what we have in front of us. So could you give us some advice maybe on how we can ask, what are the right questions to ask when we're trying to evaluate, okay, what can I do? Where can I put myself? What skills do I have? What advice can you give to us or to those watching? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Go ahead, JP.
So I think, Stella, you hit the nail on the head right there. A lot of, I have this conversation with my kids. I have this conversation with my wife all the time. A lot of people, when they get into a situation and they're stuck, right? They're dwelling on what's wrong with whatever. And you said it right now. You said it right now. The solution, I think, starts with asking the right questions. As an entrepreneur, right? We're designed to solve problems, right? That's what we do. Entrepreneurs solve problems all day, right? And when you solve the problems and you're successful at it, then you can make lots of money. But here's the thing. The thing is, a lot of people don't find success because they start off with the wrong questions. If you start off with the right question, and then you're able to find the solution to that, then success will come, right? So again, it's going back to the very beginning. What is the question? If you start off with the wrong question, it's not going to end well. Ganun lang kasimple yan. So one thing that has helped me a lot during this pandemic is something that I also learned and read. And you guys said it also earlier. It's worry about things that you can control, right? Don't worry about things that you can't control because there's nothing you can do about it, right? Like, for example, the virus. Why are you going to worry about the virus? It's there. It's not like you can get rid of it. But you can wear a mask, you can do things, and it's those things that you can do which help take the worry away, right? So a really good quote that I have read, and I always tell myself, and I tell my employees, and I tell my children is, instead of worrying, take care of today by doing what you need to do today. So take care of today, and tomorrow will take care of itself. So if you do what you need to do today, you don't have to worry about tomorrow because mangyayari na lang yung kailangan mangyari. So I hope that helps. And the second book that I want to share with you guys real quick is by an EO member. His name is John Acuff. And his book is called Finish. It's a really great book, you guys. If you read this book, okay? And it's super funny, right? The guy that wrote it, he should be a stand-up comedian because it's funny and it makes a lot of sense. And what does he mean by this? Okay, as entrepreneurs, right? The problem is we have ideas all the time. We have ideas every day. We have ideas. This is a great thing. This is a great thing. This is a great thing. But the problem is entrepreneurs are always good at starting stuff. Entrepreneurs are terrible at finishing things, right? Once we get stuck, sometimes we're like, forget it. Let's move on to something else. Kasi ang dami natin ideas. This guy is all about coming up with an idea and executing until the end. And when you finish something, right, you get that sense of success and fulfillment. And that's part of being an entrepreneur.
Thanks, JP. Lisette, will you have to ask, or I'll just ask the others to are you going to add, or?
No, I actually just go ahead and have, okay. I think JP was able to answer it perfect.
Great. Thanks. Caitlin, anything you want to ask JP or Lisette?
Yeah, actually I do. Usually during crisis or difficult situations, entrepreneurs always think about how to make profit. How can we still capture our target market, our customers, and sometimes not keeping in mind that also employees and the people in the company should remain a priority. So I'd like to ask, as an entrepreneur, as a leader, both of you seem like you have mental grit and have remained resilient and strong throughout this time. How do you impart that to your employees as well?
Okay, Lisette, with 2,000 employees, I think that's for you.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Caitlin. You know, when the pandemic hit, the first time that we really thought about were our employees. You know, it was not about profit. It was not about what do we sell, how do we sell, what will happen to our inventories and what have you. The first thing that really went into our minds is how do we protect our employees? That's the third thing that I needed to do for the company at the time. And the protect thing is so much important, because at the end of the day, you know, we've been here for like 42 years, and we are not here just because my father did all of these, but he had people who helped the organization to where it is right now. And it's our obligation and it's our duty to take care of them. And in the future, we know that if we know how to take care of them, they will take care of us. In fact, we made sure that our employees during that time were covered. And that's why, probably that's the reason why they move the way they move right now, because they know that they were protected during that time when they needed the job the most. I guess you're right, you know, people are our greatest resource, and we need to know how to care for them and take care of them. So yeah, I just hope I was able to answer your question, Caitlin.
Thanks, Lizette. Okay. Cool. Jethro, questions?
Yeah. So mine's sort of related to Caitlin's. So it's really about, in one way, protecting the employees, but also at the same time, as fresh grads who are looking for jobs. I think my question is, definitely you needed to shift your business elsewhere, right, due to the pandemic. So my question is, how did you also, say, shift competencies for your employees? And how do you think fresh grads like me should shift my competencies so I could be viable for, let's say, how businesses are moving forward now, given the pandemic?
So the question is about, within the organization, right? How do you shift competencies and everything? Okay. I think if I could take a crack at that, we're a brick and mortar school, like everybody, right? I've been doing digital transformation since 2018 in Thames, but the plan to execute it was 2021. Okay. But because the pandemic, when they joke, how did your digital transformation, who started your digital transformation? And the joke among companies is it's COVID, right? So we were all forced to go into digital transformation, just as JP was saying. So now we're 100% online learning school. So I took what competencies we had and said, if this is the way to go, I had to retool everybody in about 2 weeks. So that was tough. We all had to relearn everything, because why? It's like this: if the ship is sinking and if you don't know how to swim, you're gonna drown. So you have to find a way to learn how to swim right away. So it was really talking about the urgency with everybody. And unfortunately, the lecturers in particular, if they don't want to move to online learning, we lost some really good lecturers. But it's really that. Sink or swim, you will see what you need to do. And you have to tell your employees, we're doing this not just for the company, but for all of us, because we need to survive. So I brought in that message to everybody. And I guess we're just blessed that everybody said, yes, we're with you. And we all had to relearn. And so now we're here. Beyond that, Thames is actually now a school for schools. I train other schools now on how to do online learning. So just a pivot with JP, right? We don't have students. That's a problem. It's the dropout rate in all over the country is down, but we're now training other schools to go to online learning. So it's also a pivot. JP, Lizette, anything to add to that? Are you okay? Anela, great.
Okay.
Such an interesting thing, but then there's just so many things to discuss, and saying, unfortunately, 1 hour lang tayo. Anela, questions to any of our panelists?
Okay, sir. I actually have a question on behalf of fresh grads that are looking for a job online because they prefer work from home base. So is online job as your first landing job a good one, especially if it would reflect on your resume?
Lizette, JP, right after college, you took jobs, isang telemarketer, isang taga-benta ng pintura. Okay.
Yeah. So I guess, yeah.
Can you add, because Anela's question is related to a question in the chat from Nathaniel Marcelo. As a fresh grad that has 2 family base, would still be productive to apply for corporate jobs in the midst of the pandemic? or should they go straight to the family business? So maybe if you kind of just kind of link those things together. Thanks.
Okay, so with the current situation, you still have a choice, right? Whether you want to go back to your family business or just still look for one. But I guess the thing that we really need to think about is it really what we want to do, or do we just want to stay and wait? At the end of the day, you might just be waiting and waiting and waiting, and there's nothing at the end of it, right? It's either you do it now or you don't. So it doesn't matter. I mean, in my case, I mentioned to you, I started like a telemarketer because that's the first one that was offered to me, and it didn't matter. I mean, I did not have to choose which company and was it a good job? Is the office nice or what have you? I mean, that was not what I was for. I was there for. I was really looking for a job, and I was looking for experience, and I was there to enhance myself, whatever that may be. No job is too small, and I guess whatever is there at this time, let's just grab that opportunity. It might just fly away and never return, and then you'll just say, I should have gotten that. And maybe let's not live a life of regrets, but rather just take advantage of the situation.
Thanks, Isette. And I just echo that. No job is too small. There's, at this point in your life, just absorb anything, and you're actually lucky if somebody's gonna give you a job. Whatever it is, take it. I'm sure it's gonna add value. JP, if you can answer this question, the last one we'll do is, because I know we all need to end at 12. It is from Clarice Revet-Steer. I'm a second-year college student. I just opened 2 online shops that caters to vegetables and perfume. Wow, perfume and vegetables together, okay, respectively. What is your advice to young entrepreneurs who's just starting in this time of pandemic? Thank you. That's much.
So right now there are lots of online sellers. That's kind of where people are concentrating. As we were discussing, everybody is shifting their focus to being online, digital space, So what I want to say very quickly is that space is going to be very, very, very crowded in the next, if it isn't already crowded now, it's going to be very crowded in the next 3 months. So what's the point? The point is, if you're going to be in that space and you're selling vegetables or you're selling products that can be, if the product is not unique, that's what I'm trying to say, right? If you're not selling a very unique product, then you need to solve a unique, you need to present a unique solution to getting those products to a client. If not, it becomes very difficult because then you get lost in the crowd of all these people that are in the online space. So what I would advise you to do is sit down and think of how you can be unique in your space, right? Whether it's a unique product or a unique service. If not, again, it could be very, very competitive very, very soon.
Okay, thanks. We'll extend just for 5 minutes and we'll just answer 2 more questions. And there's something that JP and I want to announce before it ends. So this one is from Jacqueline Isip. It's again about jobs. Given the competition for job opportunities has spiked and the series of layoffs, what can put fresh graduates at an advantage or disadvantage? Anyone? Parang given the competition, di ba? What can a fresh grad do?
If I can quickly say something, right? Because we've had the opportunity to set up a new sort of department in our company over the last 3 months. Fresh grads, I'll tell you what your advantage is. For me, I would hire a fresh grad if you could help us in social media, digital space, digital marketing. And it's because I think a fresh grad would understand that space better than me, because I'm a tito, right? The titos don't get it, right? I don't even understand what TikTok is, but apparently I have to try to be there somehow, right? So a fresh grad, guys, if you can get a job in social media and understand and help a company in that space, I think you'd be very competitive.
Thanks, JP. I'll just echo that very quickly. If you are the target market of the company, they'd like to hire you. So fresh grads, Gen Z, millennials, the target company if you're the customer, then always want to hire you because you know it better than us. Last question before JP's presentation from Sebastian Coronel. Lizette, this is for you. With the pandemic going on, what should the business prioritize? Should it be quality of output, profit, number of employees, etc., etc.?
You know, at this point, I think you've heard it everywhere. Cash is king. We have to know how to preserve cash to be able to sustain the business for the long term. So you don't really look at output, you don't look at profit because might not be there. Number of employees may not be even relevant because even if with a number of employees and if they can run a whole social media account and be able to get the same output as a brick and mortar company where it employs 10 more employees, then it doesn't really matter. So at the end of the day, it's being able to really look at cash flow properly during this pandemic, during this time. I guess it depends on every situation and where you are at. So yeah, I should say this time cash, and of course your people, always take care of them.
Thank you, Lizette. And JP, you wanted to tell us about this great opportunity that EO is presenting. Let me just get your slides. Okay.
Okay, guys. So again, my name is JP Twasson, and I've been with EO, or the Entrepreneurs Organization, for going on 6 years now. And this year, I'm on the board of EO, and I'm basically the chairperson for a program called the GSEA. It's the Global Student Entrepreneurs Awards. And very simply, here's the poster for our program. The idea is if you guys have a startup business and you're interested to get mentorship from a successful entrepreneur and a chance to get cash and prizes worth over 200,000 pesos to expand your business, then you guys need to join this program. It's free to join. There's no cost to join. If we can go to the next slide. What will happen is when you participate in this program, there's going to be a local competition. It's kind of like Shark Tank, right? So the Global Student Entrepreneur Awards, or GSEA, is the premier global competition for students who own and operate a business while attending college or university. Nominees compete against peers from around the world. So it'll be a local competition in about November of this year. So the competition application starts now until mid-October. And then at the end of November, we're gonna have a local final. And again, the local winner gets, well, actually everybody that applies and gets into the program will get mentorship from a successful entrepreneur. And then the winner of the program gets funds that can be used in their business to grow the business. And then that winner will get to join the global final. If travel was allowed this year, last year's winner would have flown to South Africa for the program. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic, that didn't happen. But hopefully next year that we will have a global final that you can physically attend, not a Zoom. And hopefully it'll be in Europe. So if you guys want to join, all you have to do is be an undergraduate or graduate student in a university or an MBA. You must own and operate an existing business that's registered and has at least 50,000 pesos of sales. And you just need to be 30 years and younger. So check out our application link at the bottom. And again, application is open until October 16. So hope to see you guys at GSEA. Maraming salamat.
Quick question. Fresh grads are allowed, right?
Yes. So long as when you apply, you have been in school at least 6 months. You haven't been out of school for more than 6 months.
Okay, cool. So fresh grads, this is it. Okay, it's a chance to apply. So thank you, JP. One last presentation.
Thanks, everyone.
One last presentation I'd like to share to everybody. Sorry. For those who are looking at, learning more new things, right? Learning new things. Is my slide seen, JP? Can't see it. Lays my slide seen.
Sir.
Okay. So, you know, since you can't travel, Thames has pivoted and we now do online masters together with our UK university partners, Cass Business School, one of the top 10 business schools in the UK, Queen Mary University of London, Falmouth University, University of Portsmouth, University of Hull. So Thames is an international college as partners, and all of our partners have also pivoted and we're now giving online masters. So since we can't travel, you can take the online masters. And once we can travel, you only need to go there once a year. So it's really a flexible masters for everybody. These are our students as we visited these, originally brick and mortar now, but they're also online now. So postgraduate, master's degrees, and diplomas. These are all of the masters and postgraduate diplomas you can get. You can get your MBA, global finance, logistics and supply chain, being creative, international relations, data analytics, engineering, cybercrime, we need that, higher education, global health, digital transformation. So while you're working for JP, you can keep on taking your masters, which is digital transformation. Ask JP to sponsor you, you know, if you're really good, and global human resource. So anybody who wants to continue learning, just talk to us. We will be here and get in touch with them. So with that, thank you very much, everybody. I wish we had more time. I learned a lot. And, you know, really interacting with fresh grads and us entrepreneurs here. We all learn from each other. Any final words from anybody?
Yep. Sorry, I've got a quick one, guys. So again, the GSEA program is free. You can register for free. There's no cost to join. There's a local final, and then the international final. You can win over ₱1 million grant for your business. You can get exposed to international investors as well. And please check us out on Facebook. It's called EO, Global Student Entrepreneur Awards Philippines. Like our page, more information there. Maraming salamat. Thank you.
Thanks. JP, can you put that in the chat group so the other people?
Okay, will do. Thanks.
Any last words from anybody? Lizette, do you want to say something?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to just remind everyone that really time is our greatest resource, and just make full use of that time. Whatever you want to do, I wish you all good luck. You know, I hope you just find happiness in what you do, whatever that may be. So take care, everybody.
Thanks, Lizette. Our fresh grads, thoughts, reactions as we end this? Yes, Caitlin.
I'd just like to say, like, I'm also one of the fresh grads really affected by the pandemic, by whether it be losing a job or looking for a job and whatnot. Just besides focusing on looking for a job or building a career, starting your own business, I think it's the time for us to really invest in ourselves, our personal growth, work on our mental grit, and really take the time to feel grateful and blessed to be with family and for the situation to just be okay.
Thanks, Caitlin. Pietro, Stella, Anela, want to say anything?
I would like to say thank you so much for all the wisdom that you shared to all of us. It was really a very grateful moment for all of us. Thank you, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Pietro, Stella.
Yeah. I guess I'd like to echo what Caitlin said, that at least on the part of learning, I think even though we're fresh graduates, now is really a time for us to learn. Yeah, a part of that is personal growth and, you know, understanding what you really want in life better, but also understanding what kind of skills are necessary in this new normal sort of thing that's going to happen.
Thanks, Pietro. Stella?
Echoing what everyone said, I want to thank the speakers as well for your time, for sharing your thoughts and the knowledge that, you know, you can't get out of classrooms or some books. They come from your experience. So thank you for sharing that. I agree with what everyone said, that right now is really a good time to focus on ourselves and really ask the right questions, diba, and try to to work on that mental resilience and see beyond our current circumstances and remember that this may be where we are, but it's not where we're going to be. And also thank you so much to Thames International for putting this together and for reminding me as a fresh graduate that I'm not alone in this, that we're all going through our own things together, and hopefully we'll see the light at the end of the tunnel somehow, no? So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Stella. So I think that's a good note to end. We're all in this thing together, and we're all in this thing to help each other. So on behalf of EO Philippines, Thames International, and AIESEC, we're all one with you and our country in helping us get to the other side together. Walang iwanan. Marami pong salamat. Thank you, JP. Thank you, Lizette. Thank you, Jethro. Thank you, Caitlin. Thank you, Stella. Thank you, Anela. And thank you, everybody, for staying with us. People didn't leave the room until we ended. Galing. Thank you. Enjoy your long weekend.
Yeah, thank you, Joel. Thank you, the rest of the panelists. Thank you for having us. Thanks.
Bye, guys. Salamat. Thanks, Lisette. Thanks, Joel. Bye, everybody.
Isang picture lang. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, ngiti 1, 2, 3. Great. Thank you.
Nice. See you all. Take care.